What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into the Garden of Juvia's palette. So palette retails for $25. I end up using a code that got me 20% off. It's called CART20, and you get 20% off the palette as opposed to 10 like you do with influencer code. So if you want to use that one, it's CART20 and you get an extra 10% off. But this is what the palette looks like on the inside. So I ended up paying $20 for this palette instead of $25 because I had that code. So let's get started with comparisons, because of course first thing I thought of was the Douce palette when I saw this palette. So let's get our comparisons in, girl. So what she looks like versus that one. They don't look exact, but it has some of the similar pastel-y shades in it, so I figured I'd go ahead and show them both. So that is Douce. Y'all know I try to show them at the beginning so that way we ain't, you know, sitting here for 40 years. Next, I have the Sugar High palette from Mented up against this palette. Now, I don't expect those to look the same at all, but I already had it here to compare to another palette. So I figured I'd show it since it's here. We're here. Everybody's here and available, so we're just going to go ahead and show them all while they're here. So now I'll put that one back over because it was here for my favorite palette combinations video. Volume 3 or 4, one of them. I don't remember. I've done so many. God only knows. Next, I have the Escape Pod palette up against this palette. So these are just palettes I had in my collection that I felt like looked similar or close to the color story, and I wanted to show them side by side so you get an idea what they look like. So there's that one. But this seems to be super pastel-y, so I feel like the majority of these I'm going to show would be more like companion palettes to add shades that you feel like aren't necessarily in this palette. But since they're here and we here and everybody here, I'm just going to show them. Y'all know how I look. Next, we have the Lizzie McGuire and ColourPop up against this palette. The Gardens of Juvia. Or the Garden of Juvia's. So, see what I'm saying? Like, that would be more of a companion palette as opposed to actually, you know, duping the palette. Next, I have Ethereal Bloom from Artist Couture. This is one of my favorite Artist Couture palettes. It looks like, as you can see, they're not similar, but I just wanted to show it because it's a pastel and they're a pastel, and it does have some of the shades it has, the purples and the pinks. You know, I had so many pastel palettes, so like, calm down. I had to grab like a few. The one that's it's two of them that I feel like it's most similar to me. This is After Dark from Lethal Cosmetics. Y'all know how to do my Lethal palette here. I love Lethal palettes. I actually have the One Up palette coming to me in the mail. I'm hoping it comes today. I might come back and film with it tonight if it does come today, because I'm so excited for that palette. Y'all just don't understand. It looks really similar to the palette that I just made from them, from the BYOB palette maker that they have. Next, I have the Pastel palette from Natasha Denona up against the Garden of Juvia's. That's what they both look like. I was disappointed in this one because none of the colors actually look the way they look in the pan in person. The palette I feel like this is most similar to, though, is the Ice Cream Dream from Glamlight. So here is the Juvia's Place Garden of Juvia's up against the Ice Cream Dream. You see what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of the pastels in here are similar to pastels in here. And if you took away this row of that, I feel like they would look pretty darn similar. If you just took away this part right here at the top, you see what I'm saying? Like, and that one brown right there, I feel like it would look really similar to this palette. So I kind of want to do a battle of the and see which formula I like better, but y'all can let me know if you're interested in that or not. Next, I have Sugar Crystals from Violet Voss. As you can see, I have a lot of pastelish leaning palettes. I brought the Kaleidos Flower Punk. I don't feel like they're exact by any means. I actually brought it to put with another palette I was expecting to show up. I think I brought this to go with the one that's coming up from Lethal that I was just talking about, the One Up, but since it's here and we're here, I'll show it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they aren't the same by any means. I just had it here, so I figured I'd show it. I'd use it as a companion palette, though, because it's like I might be able to make the pastels pop a little more because the pastels in the Flower Punk are deeper than the pastels in the Juvia's palette, so I use it for that reason. Last two I have are from Violet Voss. They're the Care Bear collection, so I got the big Care Bear and little Care Bear while I was 50% off for 4th of July. So here's what they look like side by side. As you can see, this one isn't the same. The little one has a little bit more pastel in than this one, but again, they were here, I was here. we're all here. So I was like, we're just gonna show all of them. So here is the mini one alongside of it. Okay, now I've got all my palette comparisons out the way after like 5 minutes of sitting here just comparing all the palettes. I know I'm absurd and ridiculous, but we're going to zoom on in now. I am going to take the eye look I have on now off. If you're curious what's on my eyes now, I have on the, what is this palette? The late great Mel Thompson's Tiny Marvels palette. I did another inspired look from the ABH Nouveau palette to show you all that you could get similar looks from this, the Tiny Marvels palette. So this is the second look that somebody had asked me for. I finally got a chance to film it today, so I did. And if you're curious what's on my lips, this is the Mented Beauty lipstick in the shade Slip, and then I have the lip oil and taupe on top of it to get this gorgeous glowing lip. If you're interested in it, the link will be down below. It is the affiliate link to Mented Beauty. I will make a commission if you buy it. Thank you in advance. If you don't want to, you can always buy it at the Sephora Friends and Family sale next month. But their lipsticks are fire, and I don't even like lip oils, but this lip oil is fire, so I had to use it. Let me go off camera, get my eyes done, and then we'll come back and have a look for you. Okay, girl? Okay. So in true me fashion, I decided we need to do 2 looks. So I figured I'd start off with this look right here. I did a yellow-green combination, so I literally just used this half of the palette, and in the second look we're going to use this half of the palette, but I'll show you what I use in this one. So I use these 2 at the bottom, I use these 2, and I use this shade right here for the inner corner shade. So that's how we got what's going on here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna prime my eyes with the Glam Light white eyeshadow base, because of course since they're pastels we want the colors to show. I'm shocked that this yellow showed up at all. I feel like if I pack it on the lid it would be more opaque, but I just packed it in the crease to give us, like, you know, a little bit of depth, if you will, there, a little bit of brightness there, in addition to the shiny shimmers that we used. So I don't think I'm actually gonna put any eyeliner on for this look. I think I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, because I don't have any bright neon eyeliner that I feel like would work well for me. Y'all saw the last one I had. Those ones from JD Glow are nice, but the brush tip applicator on them is so horrible, so it's like I can't even fathom trying to like deal with that right now. So I'm gonna take the shade Oh Honey, which is the dark neutral shade in the palette, and start kind of dusting and creasing everywhere else. It's giving like a peachy-ish honey type vibe. It's not just neutral, it's more like a peach shade. So as you see, it's just kind of neutralizing out everything and kind of setting the eyeshadow base and giving me a little bit of like airbrush effect for when I add all the other colors on, which is the purpose of me doing it. Lately I've been doing my makeup backwards. I usually like do this step last and dust it over everything else after I already put it on, but I don't know, lately I've been doing it this way, so I'm like, okay, I'm trying to use different techniques and stuff to use. Like I got a different technique and look for the second look. Hopefully it turns out okay. I'm gonna take Marigold, which is that yellow shade. And just tap it into the crease. Everywhere else. I tapped it all the way toward like the back of the eye, and that's why I had to leave the mint color where I did, because it wouldn't blend up over the yellow. So that's why it's mainly yellow you see, and then you see the mint tapped underneath it. But you know, that's fine with me. I'm just glad that the Marigold shade is showing up pretty well, because I was scared it wasn't going to show at all. But as you can see, it looks pretty pigmented. It's still not as light as it is in the pan, in my personal opinion, but it showed up way better than I expected it to. The yellow's only work on my skin tone. And as you see, I'm not blending, I'm literally just packing on to get the pigmentation you're seeing. I'm going to take the shade Lucky Clover. That was the green matte. And I had to use shade Money Tree because I just thought it was like too nice to pass up. But I really love the shade Lucky Money. That is a gorgeous minty pastel-y type shade. I'm definitely here for it, and it's about beyond my feelings posting pictures of me thinking I'm cute in this color combination, because I didn't know how I was gonna feel about the yellow. I mean, I know yellow and green goes together pretty well, but I was like, I don't know how I feel like putting it on. But I must say, I'm actually quite liking the way it turned out. especially with the dual chrome shade I put on the lid and the one I put in the inner corner. I feel like they made a nice little lovely color selection together. And I feel like this green, purple, and yellow could be a nice look too, but I figured I would just stick to doing like a look with one half of the palette and a look with the other half. This is just a clean brush I'm dusting over. So now I'm going to take the shade Money Tree, which is just all over the lid. Start putting it all over the lid. I didn't have to use glitter glue with this because it was so smooth and nice. It just went on nicely, as you can see. And look how stunning that shade is. Like, when I opened the palette, like my eyes, it was one of the shades I was instantly drawn to just because it has such a pretty reflect to it. The purple and the pink, just stunning. And these shimmers are easy to cut the crease with, to where you don't have to use glitter glue. And if I wanted to be more cut and precise, I would use glitter glue, but I like the fact that I didn't have to use glitter glue, you know, because sometimes it's like, you're in a rush, you don't want to necessarily do that. And you're just lazy, you don't want to necessarily do that. So there's that. Now we're going to shade the shade Daffodil. That's what I put in the inner corner here. The lovely green and blue reflex to it. And this is the finished eye look. So I think it looks nice, soft, and simple. Now I do think that, you know, people would have expected this to come out in the summertime. I mean, in the springtime, not when it came out. So I don't know if they had delays with production. That's why I had to come out so late. Because pastels are usually known for spring, not now. I look at pastels for spring and winter. That's just my personal opinion on it. But, you know, I'm still loving the look, and I still think I look cute or whatever. So I'm gonna go off camera and take my look at me. I think I'm sexy pictures, like I said. Then we'll get into look 2, which is gonna be a pink purple vibe, which we know is definitely my aesthetic. Okay, girl? Okay. So here is the second look. It's actually quite soft. I'll show you what shades I started off using. I started off using, but my car got corroded and decided to need to stop in the middle of me talking, so I wasn't feeling that. But what I did was I mixed the shades Lilac You and Peonies together to get what we got going on here. And now we're taking Sweet Lilac on the outer V. We're gonna put the shade Flower Child on the lid and Blooming on the lid. So this is the outer lid shade, this is the inner lid shade, and then our inner corner is gonna be shade Blossom. It has a nice little shift to it. So, but yeah, I was saying that this shade ended up turning out really patchy. The Lilac You shade just on its own, so I ended up having to mix it in with the Peony shade, which is why I have the transition that I have when it comes to the crease and airbrushing shades. I would prefer to have that purple just accented in the crease and then have Huda, this shade we're using now, which is called Sweet Lilac on the outer V, is our outer V shade, and then go ahead and just have our shimmer sword lid. But that's not what happened, so here we are. I didn't want to take off the look again because I still have like 2 more palettes I need to do videos on, so I'm like, I don't feel like doing all that. So now we're gonna take Flower Child here, put it toward the back of the eye. Trying to pack it on nicely. It's a nice shimmer with a nice moment. What I like about these shimmers is they're giving more of that kaleido sparkly, like reflective effect than a normal metallic. It is a nice metallic E type shade though, but I'm finding I'm not necessarily liking the purples in this palette, if I have to be honest. But we'll talk about that at the end when I'm done with the actual look. Okay, so now we're going to take the shade Blooming, which is that very light lilac-y purple next to the powdery, next to the matte purple, and put that toward the front of my eye. Because it gives us a little bit more brightness in the very front, and I want all the brightness toward, obviously, the front of the eye. And maybe we can have the gradient go toward the back of the eye, so. Doing that. Now we're going to go ahead and get our inner corner together. So for the inner corner shade, I am using the shade Blossom, like I said. So go ahead and put that in the inner corner there. And all I did was put a little bit of, I made a little bit of a wing toward the back of the eye. I didn't like drag it all the way in front like I normally do. Just because I wanted to keep it a little soft. Since it's already soft, we could just, you know, keep it soft. But see if I can put a little bit more of the Sweet Lilac shade on. Okay, so back it on up and you hear my thoughts about this palette. So I have mixed feelings because I don't like the way the purples perform in this palette. I have lots of purple palettes because y'all know I'm a purple palette connoisseur. So I love me a purple. I always want to use the pinks and the purples together. But I didn't like the purples in here. Like this lilac, this sweet lilac, I feel like it's good for a crease shade. But I don't feel like it'll do much as far as like for out of reach shade. As you can see, it hardly gave me any sort of depth. I understand this is a pastel palette, which is why I'm not trying to be too harsh, but at the same time I feel like they should get good pigmentation, all the mattes, and I don't feel like they're doing that. Like this lilac hue shade, I feel like it hardly gave any pigmentation, which is why I had to mix it in with the shade Peony. Peony did pretty good on its own, but again, because it's pastel, it's going to be kind of ashy and light on me. I feel like I might try these as lid shades and see if they work out better that way. But I feel like most likely you definitely have to use like a pigmented colored base to make any of these shades pop if you're my skin tone. They're not just going to pop on their own. They're not just going to pop a white base on their own. I feel like it looks okay on me, but it's not looking the best. As far as this side, I actually prefer this side more than I do this side. And I thought I was going to be in love with this side because I had got two matte purples and the rest of it is kind of like shimmery. But to me, this is just more of a shimmer heavy palette for me. I'm probably not going to reach for it when it comes to the mattes, and a lot of times just because I don't feel like they performed that well, in my personal opinion. I mean, the green one worked fine, the yellow one worked fine. It's just the pink and purple side that I'm disappointed with, and since y'all know that's the main appeal of this palette to me, I'm disappointed to say the least. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's bad. Like if you can catch it on a really good deal, I'd say get it, but I'm not gonna say pay the regular $25 for it because in my personal opinion, it's not worth it. Those are just my honest opinions on it. Just like with the Natasha Denona one, I wasn't really that big a fan of that either, but those are my thoughts. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.